Adam Peters strikes again as the Washington Commanders continue to build a gem front office. This time, we're plucking from the Ravens flop. No pun intended. Let's talk about it.
All Phil? Black. What I want?
Get back slow. I love the way she rock it. I love the way she move it, shake it on me. When she cry for him, the shawty is the winner. You can tell that shawty's no beginner. She's confident. I love the way she move it.
YouTube, what's going on? It's Juan Gotti here. We the Washington Commanders video. Before we get to it, remember, once I hit 7,000 subscribers, I'm giving away 5 Jay and Daniel jerseys. Also, follow me on Instagram. That's free. And subscribe to my real life channel. That link's down below in the description, where we talk about real life situations and things and problems people can relate to. Also, starting my fitness journey over there. So if you know about fitness and you big into that, please help your boy out because I'm struggling. Let's get to it though. All right. So yesterday I made the video where we were talking about how Washington was set to hire the Detroit Lions front office personnel. My guy Brandon Saltner, or however you say his last name. Sorry if I struggle with it. His role is unknown. However, doing research in yesterday's video, he was a big part of turning around USC's athletic program. He was a big reason into getting Lincoln Riley there. He now in Detroit, he's like the big contract negotiator. So anytime a big contract is set to be handled, he's the one that's negotiating and getting a fair deal for both sides. He's also there at USC. He helped rise up their athletic program and get more revenue for the school. So what I'm thinking, although his role may be unknown, is I think he'll be here doing the same thing that he was doing in Detroit and USC together, though. I think he's going to be probably a guy that's going to be involved heavily in negotiating these contracts, but also figuring out a way to get revenue for Washington and getting fans back in the stadium and building over the overall fan experience, the stadium experience, giving it a real home field advantage for Washington. Because as we know, that's Josh Harris' biggest thing is he wants to build a stadium, build a fan base or whatever, bring the fan base back to where the home games feels like homes. You know what I'm saying? This isn't Washington, it's the 76ers, but Josh Harris, for the 76ers playoff game, he gave away tickets. You know what I'm saying? He bought tickets and gave them away to fans to make that stadium feel like home there in Philadelphia. So just imagine, I'm pretty sure he would do the same thing for Washington if they was in the playoffs. So I think bringing this guy on board will help with that. But the biggest thing that will help with that is winning, honestly. But now, the next day, today, the Ravens former guy, Adam Peters, and the Washington Commanders hires the Ravens director of college scouting, David Blackburn. They're set to hire him, who will take over the new role of director of player personnel here in Washington that was previously held by Eric Stokes. What better to do it than pluck from one of the best organizations in football, from Eric DeCosta, even going back to Ozzie Newsome. Their front office is always good. And I know I always find myself saying, like, man, I wish we could be like the Ravens. Like, I do say that sometimes, when I used to, because their front office was always good. Their coaching staff, they always seem to do things the right way. Never had too much drama going on or off the field. Like, they always did it the pristine way. The Ravens is an organization that is high class. And that's how they carry themselves, and that's how Washington is trying to build their organization. So again, what better than to get a guy that's been in a high class organization for the last 20 plus years. So let's read a little bit about Mr. Blackburn, see if we can learn about him. Blackburn has been with the Ravens for the last 17 years, having started there as a player personnel assistant in 2007. He later spent 7 seasons as the West Area Scout before being promoted to National Scout for 2 years before his current role. Late last year, he participated in the NFL's front office and general manager acceleration program aimed at building the league's pipeline of minority talent. Presumably, Blackburn would be an option to fill senior director of player personnel role recently vacated by Eric Stokes. The Ravens director of player personnel position is currently occupied by George Conkness. From what I've came across this morning, Blackburn is well regarded in the league and seems like a thoughtful student of the game and its evolution. So he then goes on to talk about this, talks about changing the wide receiver position and how it's evolved over the last 10, 15 years, and the philosophy that ultimately led the Ravens to take Zay Flowers, in the 2023 first round. It says what makes Flowers unique is even though he's a shorter guy, he does not play small. He plays physical. He can go up and take a high point the ball. He can play through contact. He can break tackles, and then he can also separate. Him again, you can include Steve Smith in that category, especially is the guys that are similar to him. So that's just talking about the drafting of Zay Flowers and the philosophy behind that, because he had a big role into that. So that's a little bit about him. And one thing, it says interesting connection that Blackburn already has with Washington cornerback Caillou Blue Kelly, who the Ravens drafted in the 5th round in 2023, but waived before last season. Washington picked him up off waivers after he subsequently been waived by the Seahawks and Packers in mid-December. So that is a little bit of a connection. Now, before we get out of here, let's see if we can find out, like, director of player personnel. Let's see if there's an actual director of player personnel. Let's see if we can get like a description of what it is that he would do here. Because I know Eric Stokes was the senior director of player personnel. Let's see if there's a definition of what he can do here in Washington and what his day-to-day operations may be. It may not be too different from what he was doing in Baltimore, but I just want to see. Since player evaluation, sometimes called scouting, is an essential part of the director of player personnel job. He must pull together all the information on players, including input from team scouts and coaches, recruiting services, and other sources to present to the general manager and head coach. Okay, so he's going to be the head of the college scouting, basically. And he's going to be doing all the college scouting and all the looking for, the draft, the offseason, stuff like that. So, okay, basically what Eric Stokes was doing, obviously, that's the position he's taking over. But it's interesting. Eric Stokes, he was a big reason we got Emmanuel Forbes, John Dotson, all these guys. And they not necessarily panned out yet, but hopefully they can get better. But maybe, getting guys like Eric Stokes and seeing the success that they've had in their drafts, the Ravens, that is, maybe he can bring that luck here in Washington, and we could finally have some success with our draft picks. Let me see, actually, the Ravens' first-round draft picks, for the last couple years, just to see if see what it is that they drafted, and let's see if their first round picks been successful, because as we know, ours hasn't been for the last first years. Let me see here right quick. So in 2023, they obviously took Zay Flowers. Let's see who they took. So 2020, they took Patrick Queen. 2021, they took Rashad Bateman, Adolphe Owl, Kyle Hamilton, Tyler Lindenbaum, Zay Flowers, and this year they took Nate Wiggins. So they've had really good draft picks in the first round. Ronnie Stanley, 2016. C.J. Mosley, 2014. Marlon Humphreys, Lamar Jackson, obviously 32 overall pick. So they've had some really good first round picks. And the reason why I'm showing first round picks, just specifically first round and not even the whole draft, is because first round is where we haven't hit, in the last couple of drafts before this new regime came and drafted Jaden Daniels. So on top of us not really hitting our first round picks, our rest of our drafts hasn't panned out either. So maybe if I do a deep dive into his draft picks later, like the whole class, it probably would be even more better. But just the first round talent by itself already is way better than what we did here in Washington. So not to hold y'all up any more longer, I just wanted to read that to you guys. Let me know what y'all think about it down below in the comment section. Washington hiring Mr. Blackburn from the Baltimore Ravens to be the new director of player personnel. Like, comment, subscribe to the Washington Commanders. Again, once we reach 7,000 subscribers, I'm giving away 5 Jaden Daniels jerseys. So if you want a chance to win one of those, all you gotta do is be subscribed to the channel, subscribe to my second channel, all that good stuff. All right, peace.
Never gave up on me. Ballin' like I'm Deshaun, throw the bomb, G. That's IG, my jersey never seen a laundry.